In Mark chapter 2, from verse 1 to 12, we see a story of a man who was downtrodden. He was sick, and the scriptures make us understand that he was sick of the palsy. That's a really terrible sickness, really terrible infirmity to hit a human being. And when someone is in that state, I think they would wish for, and that would just be to exit this world. All right. But in that account of Mark chapter 2, from verse 1 to 12, we see a story of the man, as we mentioned earlier, sick of the palsy, who heard or was informed that Jesus was around, was in a particular room in a neighborhood teaching the word. And so the place was jam-packed. It was full of people. Everyone wanted to hear what Jesus had to say while he taught. And so this man, because he couldn't help himself forward and into the venue where Jesus was, because he also knew that Jesus could help him at the time, and his friend decided to help him there. So I could imagine the distance they had to cover from where he was and how much they had to go through just to get him to where Jesus was. And so we understand, reading further, that they got to the place was packed full with men and women. Everyone wanted to just see what was going on with Jesus being present. And so they got to the place, they couldn't enter through the door. And they decided that, okay, we've come all the way, we've put in so much effort, we've traveled a distance, we've had to labor lifting this man all around the place, perhaps in a cart, perhaps in a stretcher, all right, just to get to the venue where Jesus was. And it was going to be a non-fruitful experience for them to also wheel the man back where he was, maybe to try and get to Jesus whenever or wherever he would be next. But they decided to press further, and they went over the building, took off the roof, not minding whose building it was, all right, and they went all the way, got the man who was sick, who was their friend, down. They lowered him from the rooftop, exactly where Jesus was, possibly at the feet of Jesus. And the Bible says that Jesus, looking not at the man, but at the faith of his friend, he declared the man whole. He forgave his sins and he made him whole. And the man got up from his sick bed and took his bed and walked away. And there are a number of lessons we have to draw from here. The first being that life is made of relationships. Relationships matter a lot in the journey of life. You really cannot survive alone. You cannot go through life alone. You cannot succeed alone, the same way you do not fail alone. All right. So you see that whether you've experienced success or failure, there have been people who have been there with you. The second part is this: you will always need people. As a matter of fact, in your lowly state, when you are in your lowly state, there are certain persons you really do not need to hang around with. Otherwise, you either remain lowly or you even diminish completely. So imagine the man had friends around him who just told him to give up, who told him, well, this sickness, we've done everything. We've checked in here and there. We've consulted with this person or that. And, they just decided to give up on him. But no, this set of friends, 4 of them, they decided to go all the way until this man won. Until he won. I remember a friend of mine in a city where I was before now, and she told me, she said that, and I would never forget what she told me, the advice, maybe not really an advice, but she just mentioned it in passing, but I took note of it. And she said, if you have people around you who cannot come through for you in your time of need, then you do not have any business being around them or having them in your life. It's been up to a decade since she gave me such counsel, and that still has its place in my heart, because we live in a world where people are getting more and more selfish. People are getting more and more about themselves and not about others around them. And so it becomes really difficult for people to really want to be there for others, including family members. So we see that people would always or most of the time want to see you drown rather than extend a hand to lift you up, to get you up and to get you going. So you do not have any business hanging around people who will not be willing to lift you when you are in your lowly state. You also do not have a business hanging around people who will not be willing to go the extra mile just to make sure that you succeed, like the 4 friends of this man sick of the palsy who defied the odds, who said, well, until we get this man to be healed, we are not going to back down. Those are the kind of people you should be hanging around with. Until you succeed, we are not going to back down. Until we get you to the finish line, we are not going to back out of the race with you. Those are the kind of people we need around us. That also is the kind of person we need to be to others. You're not supposed to just keep receiving and receiving and receiving like the Dead Sea. You are also supposed to be giving in as much as you receive. So, because even the Bible says that he who wants to have friends must first of all himself be friendly. So whatever you wish to have from others, be the first version, be the first person to be that. So while I want people to be supportive of my vision, of my goal, and to be there with me through thick and thin, and as I journey on in life, I also should be able to be that. That is the more reason even you have to be in a position where you are able to help and to support others when they are in need. Do you have people around you who are just milking you, who are just there for the taking, and when the going gets tough, they back out and they back down, they check out? Or you have people around you who are sticking with you no matter what? I'd like you to take inventory of the relationships you have in your life today. Really, really important, because that is going to matter a lot, because the people you have hanging around you and the people you hang around with determine the outcome of your destiny. Do not forget that. Imagine that this man sick of the palsy had friends who were not good enough to help him get to the finish line. Imagine he had friends who were not willing to go all the way for him just to get him to be healed. I mean, imagine he had friends who were going to just, back out when they were almost getting to the finish line. That man would have died of that sickness. That man would have collapsed, would have been gone. That would have been the end of him. But he had people who said, if you're going to drown, we will drown with you. But all we know is that while you swim through the waters, we will be there holding your hands and holding you up so that you do not drown. Those are the kind of friends you should have. Those are the kind of friends you need to keep in your life. And that's the same person I always want to be to the people around me. I'd like you to take really good stock of the people around you. And once you do so, separate the good ones from the bad ones, because truly, truly, whether they are friends or they are family, you will always have the good and the bad and the ugly around you. The choice is yours to make. God bless you.